What's up everybody? My name's Dan Ahn. Welcome to Ahnestly. This is the COFO Chair Premium Edition from a company called COFO Global. And their claim to fame here, I gotta watch out to make sure that thing doesn't break my shins. Their claim to fame here is that this is Japan's #1 chair. Now, I don't know about all that noise. This could be some weird marketing gimmick because Japan is really cool and sexy right now. All I can say is that after doing some extensive testing on this chair, it's actually a pretty damn good chair and probably the best built chair with a footrest that I have ever tested. Let's get honest. As always, links to everything you see here will be in the description below. Using it costs you nothing, but it really helps keep this channel going, and I really appreciate it. As always, we'll start from the bottom and work our way up, and I'll break down the pros and cons of the chair as we move along. So starting with the casters, those are PU casters, which means they're great on hardwood floors as well as carpeted floors. The legs on this are metal, they're nice and wide, but they're a little bit rounded, and so if you're somebody who likes to prop your feet up on the legs and kind of fidget and swivel throughout the day, your feet could fall off those pretty easily, especially if you're wearing shoes. When you turn the chair around, there's gonna be something that says like and subscribe, which you should definitely do. Moving up the chair on the right side, you're gonna get 3 adjustments. The first and most obvious is gonna be this tab here. This is gonna be your height adjustment, which moves the chair up and down. It does not go all that high. I'm 5'6", and you can see that my feet are just off the floor, and in its lowest position, my feet are really comfortable. I'll talk about the sizing and height recommendations a little later in this video. Right behind the seat height tab is going to be the seat depth tab, and the way you work it is that you pull it and then you work it. You know, you gotta jut those hips forward, you know, you gotta like that. In this furthest position, it does go quite deep. When I pull back all the way on it, you're gonna see that my back calf area is making contact with the front of the chair. And so for my longer leg folks, this could be nice to give you additional leg support in this chair. On the right bottom here, you're gonna find a knob, and you can actually pull this out for easier access. That's gonna be your tilt tension knob. Tilt tension basically means how easy or how difficult is it to tilt back in your chair, and if you tighten it, it's gonna make it more difficult so that you're not flying back, and if you wanna loosen it for when you lounge, you can do that so it's much easier to tilt back without having to engage your core and your leg muscles to stay kind of in this tilted position. This tension knob is where we see the first con of this chair. It takes a crap ton of turns before you feel any difference in the tilt tension. We're talking about 30 turns before feeling any significant difference. Even though that is annoying, because this chair has a tilt lock function, it's not a deal breaker. A tilt lock basically means you can tilt back in your chair, pull this handle up on the left side of your chair, and it's gonna lock your chair in that tilted position. So even though it might be difficult to get the tension right, because you can lock it in a tilt back position, you can lounge comfortably without having to use any core muscles because it'll lock it just like that. And in this chair, you actually get 6 different positions where it can lock in, and the chair goes pretty far back for those who wanna lounge inside of your chairs. Speaking of lounging, this chair has a footrest, and it's probably one of the best implemented footrests I've ever seen. The way that it works is you extend it out from here like this, and there's going to be a lock lever here. And the way you unlock it is you push it to the other side, you lift it up, and you should hear a little click, and then you can unroll it. And each of those clicks is gonna basically lock the footrest in any position. So if I leave it here like this for some reason, if I wanted to put my feet like this, I could. If I wanted to roll it up a little bit more, I could do that as well. And then if I just wanted it fully flat, you know, like a normal person would, or I think most people would, you can have it just like that. To put it away, you basically move the tab to the other side, you lift up, and then you're gonna go ahead and roll it down, push it in, and get it out of the way just like that. The footrest itself is done pretty well. This mesh is pretty supportive, and if you put your feet anywhere inside of the middle of it, it's going to feel good. However, if you start getting towards the edges, it does have hard edges, and it doesn't have any kind of padding down here, and so it can start to dig into your feet a little bit. I do wish that they would have used a cushion or some kind of foam here, but I understand that that might have broken the aesthetic to match the mesh material here with the rest of the chair. Speaking of the mesh, let's talk about the seat mesh. This mesh is actually quite nice. It's actually a really nice feeling, high quality mesh here. Feels pretty good, and I love the tension of it. It's not so loose that I feel like I'm sagging in the chair, but also not so tight that it feels rock solid. It's actually got a really nice balance here. But you're gonna run into the same issues like with every other mesh chair. It's got a really hard frame, and so that's not gonna make it the best for, you know, single leg tuckers or double leg tuckers. It's not terrible, but if you really start to get to the edges, if you have longer feet than I do, this does start to dig into your ankle quite a bit. Also, I'm not quite sure if you would consider this to be a waterfall edge. They do use a pad and a cushion under here to make sure it's nice and soft on the back of your legs, which is a nice touch. I never found myself, and I sat on this for a long time, I never found my legs falling asleep on this, but your mileage may vary. Everybody's leg is built different, and so I can't guarantee if it's gonna dig into your quads or not. All I can tell you is that from my experience, it has not been an issue at all. When you fully extend the seat out and you sit back in the chair, I'm super happy to announce that you don't feel any kind of seat gap. And when you tilt back in the chair, you don't feel any plastic digging into your tailbone, which is a huge, huge plus because there are so many mesh chairs out here where that happens. So it's really good that this chair does not have that. Moving up to the arms, I don't love what they did with these armrests. First, let's talk about the function, and I'll talk about why I don't like them. So first, they're gonna move up and down. They're gonna move forward and back, in and out, and they're gonna swivel in, middle, and out. And what's nice is that I've heard and I've read all your comments about arms that are super easy to just kind of move out of place. These adjustments are super taut, super stiff, and so they're not just gonna move out of place if you accidentally bang into them. So that's a big pro here. The cons, on the other hand, this arm pad is incredibly stiff. Like there's almost no give here. So very, very stiff arms, and they're rounded upwards, which is a really awkward feel when you're resting your arms in here because it kind of digs into your arm as opposed to like letting your arms rest in them. So that's another thing. But I think the biggest thing here is that they use this weird design where the arms are freaking fat, like thick fat. And the reason for that is because they put this random hole here. You can see my finger, right? You can see my finger right here. And so there's this massive hole here. And I thought, okay, it would be nice if that arm hole was here so you could grab it like this and maneuver it. But you kind of can't. You can't really do anything when your arms are there. And because they're so fat, it actually makes it much more difficult to grab the adjustment to move it up and down. Like, I mean, if you have giant hands, maybe sure, but I've got like small, medium-ish hands, and you know what they say about people with small, medium-ish hands? They make great chair reviewers, right? And so, you know, because of that, like this thing is just too bulky, too big. The one kind of okay thing about it is that they do go fairly low, so even if your desk sits pretty low, you should be able to tuck under most desks. Moving up to the lumbar support, you got this big tab right here. It's using the same mesh. It's got a pretty good tension, but you can't adjust it really in any way. The way that it works is it's using a spring tension system. And so when you sit down on it and you apply pressure to it with your lower back, it's gonna have some give. It's gonna be nice and it moves with you as you kind of sit in different positions, which is really nice. But it is just a tad bit aggressive. I don't mind it aggressive. I'm talking about lumbar support. Get your mind out of the gutter. But I don't mind it aggressive. But if you're somebody who does not like aggressive lumbar support, this might be a deal breaker for you because it does sit pretty far forward. But it's nice about that though is that because it sits that way, it's really gonna help you get into that proper posture so that you're never able to like slouch in the chair because this thing does come out so far. If you're on the taller end or you want the lumbar to sit a little higher, you can move the entire backrest up. You get 4 clicks, and that's about as high as it goes. And then if you want to bring it back down, you have to pull it all the way up, and then it'll drop back to its default lowest position. When you sit inside of the chair, the backrest is shaped in such a way that it's not turtling you. It actually feels pretty good. I feel like you can get, full range of motion here. You can open up that chest. You can sit nice and, ergonomically proper here. Just keep in mind that with pretty much every mesh chair, the edges are going to be pretty hard. And so if you've got your arms extended all the way back, you're going to be running into a hard edge in the back here. In terms of the upper back tension here, you actually don't feel all that much in the backrest, upper backrest, because the headrest and the lumbar are a little bit more far forward, and so you're not ever gonna be like leaning back into the backrest here. Speaking of the headrest, I think I've got a love-hate relationship with this thing. What I love is that it's super wide, and I love the tension of the headrest mesh material. It feels really supportive. It feels like you're getting plenty of range of motion inside of here. You're not just kind of stuck on this tiny little island, and if you move a little bit, you're gonna, slam into something plastic or your head's gonna fall off. So I love that it's big. I love that it feels really supportive. I also love its default position here. You feel like it's actually really nice. I've got a sweater on. When I tested this, I didn't. So sorry about that. But when you sit upright inside of the chair, the headrest is in such a position that if you're sitting upright, it actually catches you in a really nice position without feeling like you have to like triple neck like this, like in some other chairs. And then also when you tilt back, it's also in a really nice position here that it holds your neck in a supportive place to kind of look more forward when you tilt back. What I don't love about this headrest is that you don't get any real adjustments. it can move up and down, but even then, doing up and down motion is extremely difficult and the range is laughable. It's such a small range, it's ridiculous. And then even in terms of the swivel, like it doesn't really do all that much because the headrest doesn't really move up and down. So let me show you just how much up and down range you get. It's gonna take me a little bit here. So, that's it. That's literally all the range you get. Most chairs would be done right there, but this chair actually has some additional features on the back. Here, you're gonna have a coat rack here. So you see these big long arms, you can go ahead and hang your jacket right there. And then there's gonna be this clip right here, and I'm assuming this is gonna be for your backpack, your handbag, or whatever you wanna clip here. I mean, you could, like, I don't know, put your weed right here or something.
You put your weed in there.
The build quality on this chair is actually quite solid. I tried abusing the hell out of this chair because generally chairs with footrests, I found that they're just, I don't know, man. It just, like I tested one and the whole chair would just kind of like rumble and rattle on you. I've tried chairs that look like this and everything kind of rattles or there's just some kind of movement. There's nothing here apart from this armrest rattling a little bit because it's just the head part, but the arms themselves are lock solid. Everything just kind of fits nicely together. There's no rattling, there's no rumbling. The tilt is super nice. This chair is phenomenally built. It's actually really, really solid. And you can see proof of that because if you look down here, you're gonna see that the base is metal. This main structure here that kind of holds it in place is made out of metal. And it's just really, really solid. For a chair that costs over $800, this is really well built, but the warranty is laughable here. Now, COFO will claim that they're giving you a 3-year warranty on the chair, but you gotta dig into it because when I read the warranty policy, there's actually only a 3-year warranty on the mechanical parts, but on the fabric mesh itself, you only get a 1-year warranty. And on a chair that's built this well, I believe that the mesh is going to be the first thing to give. And the fact that you only get a 1-year warranty, again, on a chair that's almost $1,000 is a real shame. When it comes to height and weight recommendations, COFO Global recommends a maximum weight of 297 pounds on this chair, and even though I really like the mesh, I'm a little bit hesitant to recommend that just because of the limited warranty on the mesh. And when it comes to the height recommendation, they recommend anywhere between 5'2" and 6'4", which I agree with. I'm 5'6", I fit very comfortably. There's a lot of room on the lower end, and also because the seat depth comes out far and the backrest can go up, I believe 6'4" is the correct assessment on the taller end. If you're on the tall end, make sure to check out the video here where I invited a bunch of people to test over 50 chairs to find their perfect chair. It's a banger. I'll be in the comments to answer any questions. Until next time, stay honest.